is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gino Lamont.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Topping our news tonight, California is facing a number of challenges. While the pandemic is still front and center, even with declining numbers, another crisis emerges. That's wildfires. There are now 27 major fires burning across the state, 26 related deaths. Over 23,000 people have fled their homes and over 6,400 structures destroyed, and fire officials warn those numbers could be on the low end. We'll have more on those stories in a bit, but we begin with thousands of unemployed Californians and their struggle to get benefits.
Yeah, and the state's not accepting any new unemployment claims for the next 2 weeks. Massive backlogs and rampant fraud has overwhelmed the system. Governor Newsom's task force reports 600,000 Californians have still not received benefits, and another million who are starting getting their benefits cut off for various reasons, and they're still waiting to get back onto the rolls. Anyone who files new claims until October 5th will be directed to a temporary web portal, but claims won't be processed until much after that. And now local workers whose claims are still pending are worried about their payments being delayed even longer. Our Olivia Sandusky joins us live at the EDD office in Indio with more on that. Olivia, good evening.
Gina, one of those individuals that you mentioned, his name is John Barrist. He lives in Palm Springs. We brought you his story back in August. He's been waiting for his unemployment payment all the way back since May. He hasn't seen a dime yet. He tells us as of this point, the EDD owes him almost $20,000.
So this is the EDD website.
Month after month, John Barrist waits to see if his unemployment payment status will change.
It still tells me pending, pending, pending.
In August, he was concerned about paying the bills, and now those fears have strengthened.
We're going on, I think I'm at 18 weeks right now of nothing. I'm hoping that I don't get to the point where I have to sell the home. I always worry about that.
Over 1 million Americans haven't received their full unemployment payment. And for the next 2 weeks, the department will not be accepting new applications. Instead, they'll be implementing new software, working through old claims, and increasing staff, all at the direction of Governor Newsom's strike team.
I didn't want to wait another day to start this reset period to get this system back on its feet and get us to a position where we can address this significant number of backlog cases.
Some local politicians are unhappy about the temporary pause, saying the equipment and fraud issues should have been handled months ago. In a tweet, State Senator Melissa Melendez says this is the governor's solution to the backlog of unemployment benefits claims. You now have to sit and just wait for him to fix the mess he created. During this 2-week reset, John Barrist expects to not receive payment, but says he's trying to remain optimistic.
I am hoping that that's a good thing, that they finally have realized it's time to upgrade these antiquated systems, and that once it's done, that the money will start to flow.
Now, he says his hope is that some form of payment will arrive in October. And the EDD's goal is to get that backlog cleared by January of 2021. They say one of the best ways to get some help right now, if you're in the same situation as John, is to reach out to your local representatives. They should be able to help you fill out some information even amid this 2-week reset. Reporting live in Indio, Olivia Sandusky, NBC Palm Springs.
All right, thank you, Olivia. There is some good news as the unemployment rate in Riverside County has dropped for the third consecutive month. The jobless rate in August, 11.2% compared to 13.7% in July. The county saw some gains in most economic sectors. Unemployment is still way above levels from a year ago, and it was down to 4.6%.
Riverside County Supervisor Jeff Hewitt is proposing a 2-month plan to lift all public health regulations. He will present his plan to the board tomorrow. Under his plan, phase 2 of reopening would begin on the 13th of October. Hewitt says the state's lack of guidelines has left thousands with uncertainty. The plan also calls for the county CEO to be the frontline authority, shifting County Public Health Officer Dr. Cameron Kaiser into only an advisory role.
Yeah, and here's a look at their new numbers for Riverside County, the entire Coachella Valley as well. Now, keep in mind, the county does not update numbers over the weekend, so this is a 3-day total. 738 new cases reported countywide, again over 3 days, 101 here in the Valley, 9 new deaths, including 2 from the Coachella Valley.
The U.S. is about to surpass 200,000 COVID-19 related deaths. Experts now believe more than 400,000 deaths could come by January. Cases in the U.S. currently top 6.7 million. California, Texas, Florida, and New York report the highest number of positive cases.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
Still a little bit of that lingering smoke out there. Let's send things over to Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett. He's got a look at the conditions as we head through the rest of the week. Mike, what's it like out there?
Sarah, very similar to yesterday. We've got different things happening at different layers in the atmosphere right now. If you look up high, you're seeing lots of blue sky out there, way more than we saw last week. But we've got some of that low-level smoke that's pushing in through the mouth of the Banning Pass, especially as those winds are switching around to the north and the west in the evening. I'll show you that in a moment. There goes west is showing some improved air quality. In fact, what you're seeing here is most of the smoke from the larger fires is being blown almost due north right now. All the stuff that you're seeing along the coast, that's actually marine layer cloud cover. That's some good stuff, and that's actually part of our weather story. Onshore flow continues to keep humidity elevated. That's very good news as far as fire weather goes. Speaking of which, Sarah was just telling you about those eye-popping numbers as far as the fires going. 27 major fires across the region right now. The big ones being the Creek, the SQF, the Bobcat, and the El Dorado. The Bobcat and the El Dorado, including the Snow Fire, is all where we're getting our smoke from. So there's Bobcat, there's El Dorado, and then of course Snow is right at the base of the Banning Pass. So what we're seeing there is when those winds switch around to the north and west in the evening, we're getting low-level smoke blowing in here. I'll show you what that means for air quality in a moment, but what I want to tell you about is that we have a couple of troughs that'll swing by towards our north and keep that flow onshore over the next couple of days. So even though the first day of fall isn't going to be dramatically cooler, it's not going to be dramatically warmer either. Take a look at Air Quality Index. South Coast Air Quality Management District is keeping us in that moderate range. Now that's an upgrade from where we were going into the weekend, so things are moving in the right direction, but you'll notice that there is some of that low-level smoke and some particulate matter out there. Make sure you're taking care if you're a sensitive breather. Neighborhood weather showing 105 currently at Palm Springs International. Southeasterly breeze switches to the northwest here in a little bit, and humidity's at 14%. Not too bad, but not great either. Next 3 days brought to you by Comfort Air. The first day of fall will be above average. We're going to be running warm through the midsection of the week. A couple of changes coming up as we go towards the weekend. I'll give you the details and your full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Mike. All evacuation orders related to the Snow Fire are lifted. The fire has burned about 6,000 acres northwest of Palm Springs and is now 52% contained. At one point, flames threatened 450 homes. Officials say the fire has started when a work truck caught fire, then spread to nearby brush. Full containment is expected October 1st.
Now to the El Dorado fire, which is near Yucaipa. It's burned 22,000 acres, is now 59% contained, and one firefighter has died in the line of duty. The fire has been burning since September 5th. It started when a smoke bomb ignited a fire during a gender reveal photo shoot.
Evacuations continue in the Bobcat fire, burning in Los Angeles County. The flames have scarred more than 105,000 acres, and it's only 15% contained. This fire is dangerously close to many neighborhoods. The extent of how many homes have been lost is not known, and there could be more losses ahead. The fire started back on September 6th, and the cause is still under investigation.
Deputy-involved shooting back on August 7th. It came in as a call of a suspicious person. The suspect, using a screwdriver as a weapon, stabbed the officer multiple times. The deputy shot and killed the suspect, who has since been identified as 33-year-old Jeffrey Monroy from Cathedral City. The deputy is expected to recover, and the DA's office is now handling that case. A senior living community in India has been without power or water for days. People who live there say this is an ongoing issue and they want something done about it. Our Kitty Alvarado looked into it and joins us now from Riverdale Estates in India with the very latest on that. Kitty.
Well, we have a brand new update. Just minutes ago, I heard a resident celebrating, and when I asked, she told me that they now do have water and power. But residents there tell me this is an ongoing issue. As you mentioned, they say this happens every single year, and they've had enough, and they need a permanent solution before someone gets sick or worse. This retired sheriff's deputy is temporarily living at a motel. He doesn't want to be identified for fear of retaliation. He can barely get around and has a hard time breathing. He should be resting in his own home at the Riverdale Estates in Indio, where he's lived for 15 years.
We don't have electricity, no water for days.
Treehouse Communities, the company that runs the community, put them up at a motel. But he just bought groceries that he says went bad and can't afford to buy more.
Angry? I can't describe the word angry even more. Just overwhelmed, just bad. Just bad right now.
Some have stayed behind using generators or backup power, but Rita Sample, who's lived there 13 years, says that doesn't solve the water issue.
We have to go get the water out of the pool and carry it back here to flush our toilets with. And my back went out yesterday trying to reach in there to get the water.
This man, whose mom lives there, says it's bad enough when it happens every year, but doing this to seniors during a pandemic is beyond the pale.
She's having to go back and forth, to come back here, get clothes, what have you, go back to the hotel, come back, go back to the hotel. And with us being with the pandemic, it makes it a lot more stressful and dangerous if they happen to get sick. A lot of these elderly people have underlying conditions, and it may be deadly.
We reached out to the city of Indio. Councilmember Wayman Furman says he found out about the situation on Sunday.
When I've heard of the news, I was alarmed.
He says he and the city manager sent over staff from Water and Power to help.
They advised us that they had private contractors coming, so they turned us down. And so I want to continue to monitor the situation because it's very serious, and we have to find a long-term solution.
Those who live there say they just want to live their retirement years with dignity.
All of us work so hard all our lives. We come there to enjoy our life, whatever we have left. It's not that way. They don't care.
We did reach out to Riverdale Estates, to the company that runs it, Treehouse Communities. They have not gotten back to us, but now we did hear back from Supervisor Perez's office. He says in order to fill the immediate food need, that they did reach out to Find Food Bank, and they will be making food deliveries both here and at the motel where many are staying. They will probably be returning home soon. Also, Wayman Furman, what an incredible man. He actually reached out to Winco, and he just came through the gates here. He is bringing chicken, mashed potatoes, macaroni salad, rolls, water, you name it, just to make sure that everyone here has enough to eat, at least for today. And we will also be speaking with him live at the 6 o'clock news. So really good news. A lot of people helping. Wayman told me that no one here in Indio gets left behind. Reporting live in Indio, Kitty Alvarado, back to you in the studio.
All right, Kitty, thank you. Coming up next, President Trump announces a timeline for his Supreme Court pick. We'll tell you when you can expect an announcement and who that person likely will be.
Plus, there's been a lot of confusion over the massively popular app TikTok. So is it banned in the U.S.? Has it been sold? Can you still participate in that latest viral dance craze? We'll have those answers in just a minute.
And 3 new nonstop destinations from Palm Springs International Airport. We'll tell you where you can fly. Coming up.
A ban on TikTok was supposed to go into effect yesterday, but at the last minute, President Trump approved a deal in concept between the Chinese company that owns TikTok and Oracle and Walmart. The ban has now been delayed by 1 week. Under the deal, Oracle would store TikTok data on its cloud platform, and Walmart would be involved as a commercial partner.
The late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg will be honored this week in Washington, D.C. Wednesday and Thursday, Justice Ginsburg will lie in repose at the Supreme Court. And then on Friday, Justice Ginsburg will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. She will be buried at a private service at Arlington National Cemetery.
We should know by the end of the week who President Trump will nominate to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat. The president said already he had plans to fill the vacancy with another woman. Democrats have vowed to fight the nomination process, arguing it should not be held in an election year.
All right, we've got more coming up, including Mike with a look at that work week forecast.
Gino, we've got some blue skies out there, something we didn't see a whole lot of last week. We were talking about that. The upper atmosphere is doing great. It's that lower atmosphere where we're seeing the smoke. We're going to be tracking the first day of fall. It's tomorrow. I'll tell you all about it when we come back. Welcome back. Well, sometimes it's difficult for me to explain the levels of the atmosphere, especially as we're talking about blue sky right up above you and then that smoke that's hanging in the lower levels. Luckily, we got the Agua Caliente Casino Cam for that. This is the mouth of the pass there, and this exemplifies exactly what I'm talking about. If you look right here by the turbines, but also right along the base of the Santa Rosas there, you're seeing that low-level smoke that's just continuing to hang pretty much across the entire Coachella Valley. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll start to see that wind switch around, that diurnal switch that puts the wind coming in from the north and west, and that'll push some of that smoke from the Snow Fire, the Bobcat, and the El Dorado into the lower elevations again tonight. So although skies are looking bluer than they did last week, we're not completely out of the woods yet. We're going to be tracking some flow that will be going onshore and offshore over the next couple days. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I have been waiting for this day for a good long time. Finally, the last full day of summer. We will cross over at 6:31 tomorrow morning local time. What that means, just in case it's been a while since you did 5th grade science, is you are here. This is the September equinox. So remember, in June during the solstice, we have one of those days that's exactly we have the longest day of the year. Then you have the shortest day of the year in December there. So we are right somewhere in between. You'll notice the days will start getting shorter, and then pretty soon we'll use daylight savings time to make them even shorter, and it'll be dark at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But we'll be getting less direct sunlight as we tilt. Remember, the Earth is on an axis at 23.5 degrees, so the later that it gets, the less hours of sunlight we'll get per day, and theoretically, it should get cooler. Now, today didn't really support that theory. 106 is where we got to. 99 is the 30-year average for this time of year. 76 in the overnights, that had us 5 degrees warm there as well. But as I always say, as long as we're getting ourselves into the mid-70s, we're getting enough cooling in the early morning hours. Now, a lot of people have been asking me lately, why do I always say the 30-year average? Well, it's something that's actually done by NOAA's National Climatic Data Center, the NCDC. They cut it up into 30-year blocks to create what's called a climatological normal. That base allows current comparisons that are important for things like agriculture, transportation, and industry. And what they do is they acknowledge those warming temps. It would be crazy. We keep a temperature record for here in Palm Springs going back to 1893. If we tried to do the averages using all that data, it would be completely skewed. They update that every 10 years. So right now we're using a block that's from 1980 to 2010 to create our averages. And then when we get to the end of 2020, we'll upgrade that. We'll go from 1990 to 2020 to create those averages. And in case you're wondering, yeah, it's getting warmer. If you look at this graph here, temperature change in California since 1895, you see lots of blues in the left side of the screen, lots of reds in the right. We've been warming substantially over the last few years. In fact, the average temperature over the state of California has gone up 3 degrees over the last 100 years. So it's important to differentiate like that. 88 currently in the Yucca Valley, 105 at the airport, 101 in Coachella, 98 and 29 Palms, and currently 72 in Big Bear. We still have that easterly flow coming in. It'll make that switch in about another hour or two. Nothing too gusty tonight, but it will get up to about 20, 25 miles an hour and push some of that smoke in. We've got that onshore flow. Unfortunately, the trough won't be close enough to us to cool us substantially, but it will keep humidity high-ish. We'll try and keep our minimum relative humidity around 10%. Lots going on in the tropics. We'll tell you about that coming up in the next half hour at 6 p.m. Otherwise, we're going to be cooling fairly efficiently tonight. We get ourselves into the mid-70s in the overnights, 104 with dew points in the mid-40s. 105 is going to be a big number here in the valley, 95 in Joshua Tree, and 74 in Big Bear. Your Comfort Air 7-day forecast shows us 105 for the first day of fall. Okay, we can handle that. 103 waiting for you next Saturday, but flow turns offshore and warms up again. 108 on Monday.
Alaska Airlines announces 3 new nonstop flights leaving from Palm Springs. Service to San Jose, Reno Lake Tahoe, and Boise will begin December 17th. Daily flights to San Jose will be offered year-round. Seasonal flights to Reno Lake Tahoe will be offered 5 times a week, and flights to Boise will be offered daily. We'll be right back. Lester Holt is next with NBC Nightly News, and then we'll see you in 30 minutes.